Iserman have really turned this team around from where it was. Obviously, we got there in 2011. We went to the ECF and lost to the Boston Bruins, and who were, the Stanley Cup champions that year.
Yes.
And, it's the Boston Bruins, man. I mean, you don't think of them as... You think of the last decade of Stanley Cup champions going back to 2007, and 2007, like it was drafted. I think Victor Hedman was drafted that year, and other things. I mean, 2007 was weird. 2006, the Carolina Hurricanes won the Stanley Cup. But like, think about that, it was absolutely insane.
I could not imagine them winning it this year. Ward is good and all, but I don't think he'd make it.
And they're in the Metropolitan Division, which isn't fair for them, unfortunately.
Yes, that is also a problem.
Yeah, and I think they need to reshuffle some of these teams, by the way, because the Buffalo Sabres play in Buffalo, New York, and for some reason are in the Atlantic Division. I just think some of these need to be reshuffled. The Carolina Hurricanes need to be in the Atlantic Division.
It really doesn't make sense.
Just swap those two teams. I mean, they're pretty much equal in skill, in my opinion. So switching them wouldn't be that big of a deal.
No.
So I think it's time for my rant about refs now.
Oh God.
So referees, right? I've noticed this since last year. They have been missing calls. They have been calling the wrong things. They've been doing all these things that have just been awful. As I alluded to earlier, in the Winnipeg Jets game, we had just tied the game, and Nikita Kucherov hooks one of the players in front of our net.
Right.
It was a scramble in front of the net, I'd like to say. There wasn't like a rush or anything. And the ref, in all his wisdom, calls a penalty shot. And obviously you have to say, well, Vasilevsky has to stop that. But Vasilevsky... You can't switch a goalie's brain to a penalty shot from all that. It's not all that easy,
No.
And I bet you... And I'm not sure if you knew, but right after that, he stopped 3 or 4 breakaways. So it's not like... he can't stop it. It's just he wasn't expecting it, because no normal person would expect for that to be called a penalty shot, because a penalty shot means that Nikita Kucherov hooked him on an in-alone chance, which that player did not have.
Which he was not,
Yeah, and
that might be one of the biggest that stand out. There's another...
specifically
they've been breaking
fights,
up strange fights, and...
too early as well. Like,
yes.
I know... Fighting, they want to get out of the league and stuff like that, and I understand.
I disagree.
They're breaking up fights too early, and fans aren't happy, players aren't happy.
I think it was McQuaid and I forget the other player, but McQuaid of the Boston Bruins. He was in a fight, and a ref came, broke it up. No reason to break it up. It was absolutely a legitimate fight. No reason to break it up. And he holds the arms of McQuaid so that the person fighting him can just get in a bunch of punches in on him. And I just don't see the logic there.
No,
on one hand, player probably shouldn't have punched McQuaid while he was had his arms
being held
tied
by refs.
ref.
Yeah,
that's kind of rude, but fight, and if you're gonna get in the middle of it, someone's gonna get hurt, whether it's the ref or a player.
And they've been making other questionable calls recently, specifically with stuff like remember last year? I remember you going on and on about this last year. It was that game in Tampa versus the St. Louis Blues. I think you know immediately where I'm going with this. Where the player comes in and this shot bounces off Bishop's pad, hits the player's skate, and he kicks it into the net. And the Blues,
but wait.
The Blues didn't celebrate because they thought it was kicked in. The player who scored it knew it was kicked in. And the Blues commentators and the Lightning commentators all assumed that this game was going to stay 1-1 as it was in the third period, and that they were probably going to go to overtime or some other goal was going to happen before then. And that's not what happened. Nope. For some reason, the wise people in Toronto
Good old
decided that that was a good hockey goal. And you could see it in the ref's face that was announcing it. He was like, I don't really know what to do here, but they said it's a good goal. Apparently was not kicked in. Do not believe them or whatever. And it's you could say, right, that, well, the Lightning should have scored one more goal and tied it up, and they should overcome adversity. You can't just say, well, oh, you guys were playing really good, but that goal that shouldn't have been allowed was allowed, so now you guys have to come back from behind, and you got to do it now. You have 5 minutes.
Can't
Go
ask
ahead,
the team to
do it.
that.
And
As good as the Lightning are at making up leads, or were recently,
at the very
you
beginning,
can't ask
they
a
were
team
really
to
good
do
at it.
that. Oh yeah.
Because if you remember, the first 2 or 3 games of the season, they would go down 2-0 in the first period, and then they come back.
We didn't hold a lead, or we didn't start a game in the lead for so long.
Oh yeah, that was one of the narratives that they were always talking about on Fox Sports Sun and all that. They're all like, well, the Lightning can't seem to get the first period goal, blah 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 blah. And yeah, I mean that happens. And I think it probably was the omen at that point, right?
Oh yeah.
At that point, we should have realized that this is somewhere down the line. The season's not going to be the greatest, but the main issue, right, is that the refs are just calling bad things at the moment, and I'm not sure if it's because refs are new and there's like new and old refs mixing right now.
No, it's
and
even veteran refs that are making bad calls.
And I don't know if like the refs have just given in to like biases, because I've noticed a lot of more biased calls. Like you'll see the Lightning do something, and then you'll see the let me take a random team, Toronto Maple Leafs. You'll see them do something, and the refs they don't care that the Toronto Maple Leafs did it, but we'll do it, and then we'll get called for it. And sometimes it'll even be a less severe version of what they just did. And
Yeah.
And if you listen to the radio broadcasts of the Lightning games, you'll hear Dave Mishkin and Phil Esposito go on and on. They do it less so on TV, obviously. And it's just gotten to the point where it's ridiculous. And
It is honestly ridiculous.
People have told me, "Oh, you're just paranoid. There's a Tampa bias, blah blah blah. You're crazy."
I would have said that last season.
I did too.
I saw bad calls.
I thought it was just mistakes. I just thought it was mistakes, and that's it's not. It's not mistakes. It's
There have been good
legitimately.
games this season with good calls. But when they get
have been the good games, and
as much as people hate to hear that, the refs have been terrible this season.
And I've talked to other people about it, and apparently it's not a hockey like specific thing. Apparently they've been terrible in all sports, and I don't know what it is. Maybe when the leagues are giving these refs their jobs, they are just like, okay, do you know the rules? And the refs are just like, sure, and then the leagues are just like, okay. That's got to be what it is at this point, right? I mean, and they have to just be like, okay, well, let's do whatever. It's just gotten to the point, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. I've heard football is a big one where the refs are kind of this season.
Yeah, it's just gotten weird now, to be honest with you. And I don't know. I've gotten just so frustrated that I just stopped caring about the calls, and I'm just like, because the Lightning's power play has been outstanding, which is not something I would have said last year.
I'll be sitting watching a game with someone, and they'll see a call and get so mad at it, and I'm just sitting there like, yeah, same old.
It's a Lightning game.
I really don't care.
They got the lightning
now.
bolt on their sweater. That's why they called that. That's the point that I'm at this point, where I'm just like, okay, it's normal. And I don't know. It's just frustrated me to the point where I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
And you know, I feel like it's not just our team, because I've heard and seen it happen to other teams. You know,
Yeah.
so
No, I've seen people commenting saying, and obviously you're gonna see it with any team, but yeah, people have been livid about refs. Plenty of examples to go around for any team.
yeah, and I just wish, you know, it wasn't the case. You know, a good refereed game is a good game. You know,
Yeah.
and you know, it's just not what we're getting right now. So I have to say that some teams are probably, like, my predictions obviously is Chicago's probably going to win the West this year again. At this point, I'm gonna go with Columbus winning the East, but I'm not sure.
They've got a good chance. They got a real good chance.
They've got a head start.
Now, I would like, if it can't be Tampa, I would love for it to be Ottawa. Ottawa,
yeah.
my adopted team. They've been doing real well this season.
I have to say,
I would love for it to be Ottawa.
I used to be a big Canadiens fan, but I have gone so far off that train just because of the way the team has been. Like, it's so obvious to me now that that team is just Carey Price that I'm no longer... I can't genuinely root for that team just because they're not that great of a team. And that's the issue. So my second adopted team has got to be the Toronto Maple Leafs. I love that team, and I probably know more about that team than I do some of the Lightning stuff.
It's been fun watching Toronto this season, watching you.
It's like Team North America, you know? They were amazing during the World Cup of Hockey. And then you're seeing basically them on the Maple Leaf ice in their Canada Center. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope...
Pretty good story.
Hope we pull off the win tonight and tomorrow night. And
yes,
hopefully on
definitely
next
tonight.
Tuesday.
I wouldn't be surprised tomorrow.
On the next podcast, we'll be talking about a Lightning win streak instead of a Lightning lose streak. You know.
We can hope. We can definitely hope.
Yes, and I hope we can have a great podcast. Talk about amazing Marty St. Louis ceremony. I believe that's going to be one of our topics in the next podcast. Will be that, and also whatever else interesting happens in the league. Maybe something cool.
Groundbreaking.
Who knows? Maybe something groundbreaking. I don't know exactly.
They
what
ban
that
fights
would be.
altogether.
Yeah, maybe Austin Matthews got injured. God forbid. But yeah, that's all for this edition and the first ever episode. Hope you like it. Subscribe, like, and such. And the podcast comes out every Tuesday and Thursday, for as long as I can think. So that's all. And